In today's episode, we are going to be discussing whether Martin Odegaard might be coming back to his best. Recent weeks have shown some light at the end of the tunnel for his season, and I'm going to be talking you through all of that information right here, right now on Arsenal Unfiltered. Let's get started. Yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of Arsenal Unfiltered, your 3 times a week dose of Arsenal coverage with me, your host Mark. Wherever you are, I hope you are well. We are close. It is less than a week now until Arsenal return. The international break is basically done. We don't have a game this weekend, unfortunately, because we are out of the FA Cup, and it is another FA Cup weekend. It is the 27th of March. Time is going, isn't it? I can't believe it's April next week. That is bonkers. But hopefully it means nicer weather here in the UK, and that's coming around soon. It's 7:18, and the reason I bring up the date and the time is because it is about 12 hours after an absolutely unbelievable result for Arsenal. Not the Arsenal men's team, the Arsenal women's team. Arsenal women 3, Real Madrid women 0. I don't know what happened to my voice there. Maybe I'm getting overly emotional about an Arsenal team beating Real Madrid. But Arsenal women have turned this around. I should say Arsenal, have turned this around. It's absolutely fantastic. If you follow the Arsenal women's team, you'll have seen that they played in crazy conditions in the first leg in Madrid. Absolutely wild. I mean, it was Sunday League-esque, that pitch. I think Spain have been hit by some crazy weather just generally recently, and the Real Madrid pitch, I think they call it the Castillon or something like that, at their smaller stadium, was just all over the place. It was muddy. Arsenal really struggled in that condition and lost the first leg 2-0. So to come out and win 3-0 last night was terrific. I mean, shout out to Alessia Russo. Every time I watch the Arsenal women's, and I'm endeavouring to watch them more and more, Alessia Russo always stands out to me as the player who will make something happen. She feels like the star in that side, and she got 2 goals last night. I think she probably should have had 4. I mean, the VAR, the one goal she scored was disallowed for an on-pitch offside, and it looked so tight. I mean, I didn't see the VAR replays, but it was inches, if anything. And then the first one, again, I thought it was really strange. But still, she got the job done. She got 2 goals. Probably should have had more. And yeah, Arsenal women came through and got through that tie. The Emirates Stadium wasn't full, but that kind of bottom ring was full of people powering the girls on. And it's just awesome to see Arsenal get through a tie with Real Madrid. Let's hope the Arsenal men's team can follow suit in the coming weeks and make it a club double against Real Madrid. Wouldn't that be incredible? That would be absolutely incredible. But some turnaround from them, and just wanted to give them their flowers. I am going to try and watch more of the Arsenal women's team and keep watching more, and then next season bring a kind of Arsenal women's podcast to Arsenal Unfiltered. Not sure what it will be called or how it will be done yet, but I want to watch them more and bring something to you guys to cover that team, because we are one big club and we need to be talking about that team just as much as we are talking about the men's team. They are doing fantastically under Renee Slagers, so it's wonderful to see. But the main topic of this podcast is Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard. Is he back to his best? I mean, some people will be rolling their eyes at that. I know that, but I don't know. I'm suddenly feeling good about Martin Odegaard for a number of reasons. I'll come on to why I think he might have a chance to get back to his best. Let's quickly just sum up his season so far. And obviously, really, his season started with that very, very early. It was on one of the international breaks, actually, which is funny, since we're now in an international break and talking about this. That very early and nasty ankle injury. I mean, I remember seeing the video of it and thinking immediately, that is really quite bad. I mean, no person's ankle should bend the way Martin Odegaard's ankle did in that moment, in that tackle. He is going one way and his ankle very quickly points the other as the opponent kind of steps on it. He was out for two and a bit months with that. And I think that has caused a lot of problems. a lot of problems. At the same time, Martin Odegaard's had a child, which I'm sure plenty of professional footballers deal with. So it's not like an excuse for his form, because people, players have kids all the time. Kai Havertz, congratulations to him and his wife. They have just had their little boy or girl. Don't know, actually, I didn't see. But they have just had their child, so congratulations to them. But Odegaard's had his child as well, and I think there were multiple times this season where we saw Martin Odegaard after the birth of his child where he looked almost gaunt, like he wasn't sleeping and he wasn't getting enough food in almost. Like, go and have a sandwich, Martin. Like, that's kind of what it felt like he needed, and he looked energyless in that period where we really did as a team look quite energyless. So I think there's been, that injury and having a child has kind of caused two main things. One, I think he's lost his confidence a little bit. If you're not sleeping well, if you've got lots of other things going on, you're worried about an injury you've just had. It's felt like he's lost a little bit of that. I'm the top guy here. I'm here to lead and lead by example. It's felt like he's lost that a little bit, and he's definitely lost fitness, sharpness, whatever you want to call it. The kind of ability to spring and turn, and his ability to move off one foot very, very fast and kind of displace the defender. He's lost that a little bit this year, and we've seen a real lack of that. And I remember certain games in previous years where Martin Odegaard has, he's not necessarily scored goals or got assists in those games, but he has just terrorised the opposition defence by dipping and ducking and weaving in and out between them and just making life horrible for them. He hasn't had that this year. And I do think that all comes back to that injury and how he has struggled to maintain or find fitness and sharpness since then. He has got 5 goals and 7 assists for Arsenal this year, but it's looking like he is going to fall well short of his 2 previous full seasons tallies at Arsenal, which would be last year was 22 goals and assists, 11 goals, 11 assists, and the year before was actually 22 as well, very different makeup, 15 goals, 7 assists. That was, of course, the season where Martinelli had a really good season, Saka had a really good season. We were looking at multiple players in double digits for goals and assists, goal contributions, so it was a really good season. And since then, I think Martin Odegaard, he had a good season last year but has really dropped off this year. There are reasons for that, of course, like I've just spoken, his personal reasons, but there's also stylised reasons. Everyone plays Arsenal in a low block now. I mean, I grew up in the era of Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson. I never imagined a day where we would watch an Arsenal-Manchester United game and Manchester United would have a back 5 sat incredibly deep against Arsenal, and at Old Trafford as well. But that's where we're at now. And rightly or wrongly, I'm not saying that is the wrong way to play against Arsenal or it's a negative way to play against Arsenal. I'm not saying that, but what I know it is it's an effective way to play against Arsenal. That is 100% true. We've seen West Ham do it. We've seen Manchester United do it. Even teams we've beaten, Ipswich kind of did it a little bit when we beat them 1-0. It's a really effective way to play against us and minimise our ability to hurt you and then maybe catch one on the break. Forest as well, they're another team in recent memory who did it. It's an incredibly effective way to play against Arsenal, and one reason it is effective is it really limits the influence of Martin Odegaard, because what you can do is you can say, right, we are going to defend only, this 33% of the pitch, 40% of the pitch, whatever, that's how much we're going to defend. Everything else, let Arsenal have it. One, that's the area of the pitch Martin Odegaard operates in, but two, it limits him in the sense that you can flood players around him, which we've seen many teams do, and it's helpful because we are so heavy on that right-hand side. You can flood players around Martin Odegaard, and this year you can also flood players around Ethan Nwaneri. Previous years you can flood players around Bukayo Saka because all the defenders are concentrated in that area. But also with a low block, it really limits the through balls Martin Odegaard can play. And through balls are his superpower. His ultimate weapon is how he picks a pass through the lines and just feeds players. And to limit Arsenal and limit Martin Odegaard, I should say, to limit Martin Odegaard to not being able to play them and having to flick crosses into Mikel Merino and Kai Havertz and stuff, you really do minimise his threat. You really do. So he's had a real issue with that, I think, this year. And one thing I really hope he does do is go away this summer and work out a way to be effective against those low blocks. We see players like Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice go away in summers and return with a new quality. I think Declan Rice has really added kind of a real pass efficiency this year. He's so efficient with the ball, really does things incredibly well. I think he added that over the summer, added it to his incredible physical and defensive attributes. I want Martin Odegaard to go away and do the same thing. Do the same thing. Find a way to be effective against low blocks. Maybe it's, you know what, you're in a low block, so I'm going to improve my long-range finishing and I'm going to bag 5 goals from the edge of the box this next season. That would be great. Maybe it's just thinking about a different way to play against them. Maybe drifting over to the left where there's less players and they're not as congested. Maybe there's a different position he can take up. Where does he start from? All of those sort of things. Because I don't think the low block problem is going away. However, I do feel good all of a sudden about Martin Odegaard. And I'll tell you why, right? I'll tell you why. Obviously, the last Arsenal game we had was our 1-0 victory against Chelsea. Martin Odegaard got the assist for Mikel Merino's goal from a corner. We have questioned Martin Odegaard from corners over recent weeks and maybe over the last year, really, where he's had to step up and Bukayo Saka's not been in the team. Martin Odegaard takes those right-hand side in-swinging left-footed corners for Arsenal, and I think we've all kind of looked at them and gone, wow, they're nowhere near as good as Bukayo Saka's. He got the assist from a corner against Chelsea. He's got an assist against Israel in the international break from a corner as well. It is 5 assists in the last 3 games for Martin Odegaard. 2 of those from corners. Yes, look, right, I'm going to say this. 4 of those 5 assists are in the international break, so why do we care about it as Arsenal fans? And against, subpar, with all due respect, subpar opposition in Israel and Moldova. It's not like he's had a 3-assist game against Spain, so I agree with that. But you know what? Assists are assists and goals are goals. And actually, Martin Odegaard, I think, has just need to see a couple go right. And in the last 3 games, he's got 5 assists. That's just fantastic. If you scroll it back a couple more games as well, to the 4th of March, he had 2 goals and 1 assist in the game against PSV. So this month, he has 2 goals and 5 assists. Not all for Arsenal, granted. A lot of them are for the international team. But look, that is a big, big improvement. A big, big improvement. And sometimes I really do think numbers and just getting a few on the board can turn people's confidence around. You know what they say about a striker when he's on a goal drought? A lot of commentators and a lot of punditry says he just needs one to go in off his arse. And I feel like Martin Odegaard was like that with assists. He just needed anything to go in after he's passed it to someone. And now he's got 5 in the last 3 games. So I feel really, really good about that. Really good and really positive about that. One thing I also feel really, really positive about is some of the quality of the moments that Martin Odegaard's had recently. I'm going to take you through 3 right now, because these are 3 moments that we haven't seen much this season. And I think they are, what's the word? They are they're reminiscent of the best version of Martin Odegaard. And I think that's really, really important that, yes, I'm talking about his numbers, and I really do subscribe to that idea that he just needed some to go in for his confidence. But also in the last month, we have seen moments where I'm like, oh, that's the guy I love watching. That's the guy I really, really like. The first one is the flick around Nkunku against Chelsea. Now, I know what you're going to say, Mark, why do we care about a flick around a player, and that was in kind of the middle third that led to nothing? But I go back to what I said at the start when we were talking about his ankle injury. He lost some of that sharpness. He lost that ability to spring off one foot and kind of turn players. And, we've all seen the clips of previous seasons of Martin Odegaard rolling the ball in and around players, jinking in and out, moving 1 metre, but moving so quickly that the defender just cannot do anything about it. He is so agile, so technical, so skillful. And I felt like this year we had seen so little of that. So little of that. So when I saw him do that little flick round Nkunku, send him the wrong way, be able to dive right, send the ball left, dive right, and then get back on the ball, I was like, it was joyous to me, because all of a sudden I thought, hang on, you have some sharpness coming back into your game. To be able to do that, you have some sharpness, you have some spring in that ankle. And if some of the reason has been fitness, again, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Mark, it's a tiny little moment. Who cares? Who cares? But if some of the issue has been fitness and spring off both angles and confidence off both angles, that moment for me really, really was a great sign, a really great sign. The PSV game as well, I know we're going back nearly a month now, but again, I think it's really important. That through ball to Calafiori for the final goal in the 87th minute was an incredibly good pass. And again, it was a quality moment from a player who needed a quality moment. And I just felt like it was again, I spoke earlier, was there a confidence thing? Well, actually, he flicked this with sort of like the outside of his boot, a kind of skimmy little pass across the surface of the pitch. Calafiori comes running onto it. It's brilliant vision. It's brilliant execution. I loved it. And a similar thing happening in the Norway versus Israel game for their first goal. The wonderful move on the right-hand side involving Odegaard. And then he picks out this wonderful through ball to the Norwegian finisher. I can't remember his name. That's really bad. But he picks out this wonderful through ball. And all of a sudden they were in and they scored their first goal against Israel. And it was just a fantastic moment of quality. So, look, yeah, the numbers are coming back this month. And it's against low-quality opposition. But I do think that matters. But also this month, the quality is just starting to return. There's little signs of life. Could he be coming back to his best? Well, let's talk about where he goes from here. We've got Fulham and Everton and then Real Madrid. Really, really interesting. I think there's a couple of things going on in the next few games that are going to be important for Martin Odegaard. First of all, the style. Okay, so Everton. Let's talk Everton. David Moyes is progressing them up the pitch. He wants them to go out and be a bit more attacking and commit more men forward than Sean Dyche ever did. And David Moyes is pushing them forward, driving them forward. I don't know if they'll do the same against us. Will they just go low block against us? They might do. They might fall back into habits. But if David Moyes continues with his kind of philosophy of pushing them forward a little bit more, there might be a bit more space for us to operate in. And if there is space for us to operate in, we clearly have the superior quality. Similar with Fulham, they've got a lot to play for this year. They want to pull themselves into those European spots, and Marco Silva is a manager who is not afraid to take games to other teams. I mean, he's taking games to Manchester United this year. He does a really, really good job of creating attacking threat from players who, with all due respect, are probably not at the quality that Fulham are showing this year, right? I think Marco Silva is making them better than the sum of their parts, and they do attack. They can attack teams. So will there be space there? And of course, in the Real Madrid tie, I am very, very confident there'll be space. It might actually be us in the low block, especially in that away leg. It might be us doing the sitting deep and defending. I think Martin Odegaard will get space. They might man mark him, but I think actually if they man mark him, that's better than just crowding him for Martin Odegaard, because he will be able to drop a player. It's when there's 2, 3, 4 around him that there's an issue. And of course, the main thing that I think will help Martin Odegaard moving forward is Gabriel Martinelli coming back. He has looked, fairly sharp in his limited minutes since he came back, and I thought he has shown what we've been missing, I guess is what I want to say. He's really happy to go down the right-hand side of a player when he's playing on the right wing. Obviously, when he's on the left, he's a little bit more kind of biased to cutting inside. But I'm sure Mikel Arteta will be saying to him, look, you're our runner. You're our only runner. You can't be going inside as much as you want. Go down the sides on the left. Go down the sides on the right. Create space. Create opportunities for Martin to give you a through ball. And just move that defensive line back. Just move them back. And I think Martinelli is our best runner for that in the final third, our best player for that in the final third. Will it give Martin Odegaard more space? I don't know, but I certainly hope so. So is he back to his best? Well, not yet, but I think there are signs of life. This month has actually been pretty decent. 2 goals and assist versus PSV. 2 blanks against Manchester United and PSV's second leg. Of course, he only got on as a sub in the second leg, so that's a little bit, that's something as well. An assist against Chelsea, an assist against Moldova, and 3 assists against Israel. It's a very, very good month for Martin Odegaard. Personally, like I say, sometimes you just need them to go in no matter what, but also there have been signs of life from the quality point of view. There's been moments that he's created that are really positive, and if teams come and play us, with him returning to a bit of confidence, a bit of form over the last month, I think we will see his numbers start to go up again. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Once again, congratulations to Arsenal women overcoming that 2-goal deficit against Real Madrid. Fantastic for them, and I hope they are enjoying and reveling in that this morning and basically for the rest of the week. Why wouldn't you? Martin Odegaard, is he back to his best? Not yet. I'm going to, this weekend, probably preview the Fulham game, or I can't work it out really. It's either going to be a preview of the Fulham game, or I'm going to save the preview of the Fulham game for sort of Monday-ish, and do that, and then do a Monday-Wednesday kind of structure around the Fulham game for next week. If I don't do that, there will be an episode this weekend of the Arsenal Roundup, so keep an eye out for that wherever you get your podcasts from. I haven't had a break in this podcast, so I need to tell you, if you've enjoyed this episode or you've enjoyed any episode of Arsenal Unfiltered, please consider giving me a follow or leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts from. It really, really makes a big, big difference and helps grow the podcast so I can keep bringing you content 3 times a week. All that's left to say is thank you for following, thank you for listening, and I will speak to you very, very soon.